Hello, friends. This is Mac Payne here, founder, owner, and operator of the Vietnam Veteran News Podcast with big news for you. I have just published another episode to my podcast. This is one of my more favorite types of episodes to share with you. That episode is number 3227, and it talks about a tremendous representative of the great Vietnam veteran generation. Many times on these videos and on my podcast, I will repeat the phrase, the Vietnam veteran generation is as great as any that ever heeded the call of duty from our country. That is a true statement that I have discovered after doing over 3,000 podcast episodes. I've studied many of these veterans, talked to authors who write books about them, and there's no doubt in my mind that the Vietnam veteran generation is a great one. In the episode I just published, I highlighted another Vietnam veteran who is, in my opinion, a very outstanding representative of that great generation. His name is Stephen Paul Campos. He served in Vietnam in a combat position, and as many combat veterans do, when they come home, they bring that war with them in the form of PTSD. This is not just a story of a Vietnam veteran overcoming PTSD. There's a whole lot more to it. Not only did Stephen Campos overcome PTSD with the help of the Lord, he did some other things. He started a business. That's one of my favorite occupations, starting businesses. I tell all about it in the podcast episode. Something else Stephen did that is very impressive is that he followed my advice, although I did not give it to him in person. I wish I had. He began writing. He followed in the footsteps of Ron Mosba, the pride of Joplin, Missouri, who came home with PTSD, and he was advised to write about his times over there. And despite the doubts he had about the benefits of writing, he started writing about his times over there in Vietnam, and it did help him. Same with Stephen Campos. Now, Stephen didn't stop with just one book. Stephen wrote a bunch of books. Last time I counted, there were 14 books in his library. I advise you to take a look at those books. And as a podcast service, over at the podcast website, VietnamVeteranNews.com, episode 3227 will be featured there. Not only will you see a picture of Stephen at one of his entrepreneurial events, you'll also see a link to his library. You can go in there and look at his tremendous array of books, and they are not all about Vietnam. He writes about spiritual matters and other things that are helpful to you. He also writes about his business experience. My primary purpose of this short video is to convince you to go over and listen to the podcast episode about Stephen Paul Campos, a tremendous Vietnam veteran who has done tremendous things. And I've made it easy for you. All you've got to do is go down below this 1965 version of a Philco TV set. Maybe it's RCA. Go there and you'll see the link that'll take you straight to the podcast and straight to that episode that you can listen to the story of Stephen Paul Campos. And I'll guarantee you, if you're down in the dumps, whatever, listening to his story will get you out of those dumps and maybe even encourage you to do great things like he has. That is my purpose here, to get you over there to listen to Stephen Paul Campos' story at the podcast, VietnamVeteranNews.com. Again, I've said it before, but I'll say it again. If you do that, you'll be glad you did. So you can thank me later. So right now, without any further ado, scroll down to the details section and click on the link that will take you straight over to the podcast and the story of Stephen Paul Campos. If for some reason you cannot access that link on the device you're watching this video on, no worries. Listen carefully. go to VietnamVeteranNews.com. That'll take you straight to the website. When you get there, you can go straight to episode 3227 and listen to the tremendous story of Stephen Paul Campos. I guarantee you, you will be glad you did. So now, you have your marching orders. Go to it. Go over there and listen to episode 3227 at the Vietnam Veteran News Podcast. You will be glad you did. Take it from me. Thank you very much for listening to this short video about the latest episode on my podcast. We'll talk soon.